Tennessee State head coach Eddie George, the Tigers coming off a win this past week at Austin Peay, 24-22. That was a non-conference contest. They'll play later again this year. So this week they have an open date, and then they'll start their official OVC play on October 16th against Tennessee Tech. So, Coach, just thoughts about getting that first Division I win against a really good Austin Peay team.
No, it was really a great test for us. We knew that going in. Explosive offense. Led the country or led the conference in offense and passing offense and touchdowns. I mean, just explosive players all over the field. Very aggressive defensively. We just knew we had our hands full. And coming off of a loss against SEMO, we knew we had to play our A game going in to have a chance to win. We left a lot of plays out there on the field. We made it. It was a tight ball game. We felt like we could have taken advantage of some other things, but overall, to go on the road in that type of environment under the lights against a really good football team and finding a way to win just really showed grit and the toughness of who we're trying to be, and it was a great character win for us. But a lot to learn from that game.
The first half, it's 3-0. What changed in the second half? Is there anything you did differently? Did the plan just, do better in the second half? For people watching, probably didn't figure it was going to be 3-0 at the break.
No, I mean, it was definitely a defensive battle. I think we missed out on some opportunities, especially in the red zone. Missed a field goal, had a fumble in the red zone. So that could have easily been, 6 to 14 points off the board. And we just felt like we were able to do some things offensively and keep us in the game. I think our defensive players did an outstanding job. Brandon Fisher put together a great game plan against that explosive offense. They run a lot of tunnel screens and try to get the ball on the edge. That ball comes out flying out from the quarterback's hands, and our guys did a nice job of tackling in open space. They gave our offense an opportunity to get into rhythm. So we just stuck with the game plan, made a few tweaks here and there, but we said, hey, this is what we can do. We're having some success doing this. And we found our way into the end zone with some explosive plays by Rock, and certainly Hickbottom was phenomenal. And Devon Sterling, so our guys stepped up when they needed to.
You talked earlier in this year about Hickbottom, and heading into your first game, the quarterback, you all didn't have enough reps. He had a great game, OVC Offensive Player of the Week. He had the 48-yard touchdown run. Can you talk about his progression from, September 5th until now?
Yeah, well, he wasn't practicing going into Grambling State, and that's a huge deal given that we're a new staff. He's a new quarterback, had taken plenty of reps prior to that. And then, the whole COVID thing, it was trying to figure out, we were a patchwork offense. And we kind of knew we were challenged. We were playing with one hand behind our back. But as he gets reps and he sees the defense, he sees getting playing time, he's fighting through adversity in terms of his mistakes and learning and growing. That's what we've asked of him. He's a grad quarterback, does a phenomenal job of preparation, and he's getting better week to week.
And it seems like Riddell is one of his favorite targets, 5 catches, 129 yards, 2 touchdowns, his second multiple touchdown game of the year. What has he brought to you? I know it's your first year, but he's a newcomer to the TSU program as well.
Yeah, Rock is a special player. He is a pleasant surprise for us. He creates massive problems for defense because he's a tight end. He's a receiver in a tight end's body. Does so much for us as special teams. Really creates the identity up front in terms of toughness and just all over the place. And, he's one of many weapons that we feel like can be a problem for opposing defenses. It was his day. I think Hickbottom does a nice job of distributing the football to various weapons. It just so happened to be Rock's night that night, with the 2 explosive plays that he had.
So your open date comes 5 games into the season, basically the halfway point. If you could have picked your open date, would this have maybe been the time to do it? Does it help out for your team coming now?
Yeah, it does, especially given what we've gone through, trying to find an identity. Again, we got here in June, and our coaching staff had a short amount of time to do the install, to figure out how these kids learn, what they're capable of learning, and take that to the fire and have that tested in real live moments. And we've learned a lot about ourselves, a lot about our players, about how they learn, absorb stuff, where their strengths and weaknesses are. And to have the bye week right now is in the perfect position, because we can take a snapshot and say, okay, this is who we are, this is where we want to go, and this is how we want to get there. So it's really a season of progression and really putting the finest product as possible out on the football field.
So when you were a player, how did you use your open date to get better? And so how do you see what you just said about your team getting better this week heading into that next game?
Yeah, we did a self-assessment of, what our strengths and weaknesses are at every phase, special teams, offense and defense. We've identified some areas that say, hey, we got to tighten up here, certainly in the penalties, understanding what the problem is, how we need to stay onside. 70% of penalties called are pre and post snap. And that's been our issue. It's been jumping off sides. It's been personal fouls. It's all the stuff that's well within our control. And we can control that and not put ourselves behind schedule, because we're just not at the place, we're not good enough to overcome a 1st and 20 or a 1st and forever. And that puts us behind the chains. We are last in the conference when it comes to penalties. 54, 58 penalties for, I think, 470 yards or something like that. We're averaging 10 penalties a game for almost 100 yards. And that's hidden yardage that counts against us. So we can't afford to do that. That's the number one thing that I noticed, that the discipline stuff that we've got to clean up moving forward in the back half of the season.
Okay, that's all we got for you today, then. Make it simple for you. Best of luck in this open date, and we'll talk to you again next Tuesday.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.